phone is down. I decided just to come straight to you guys instead of doing the intro this morning, but I guess we could do the intro this morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we've got a lot of news to go over this beautiful morning. Good morning, Sonia. I might actually have to get up and throughout this process and go get me another cup of coffee. I forgot to bring the pot in here. Good morning. It's Monday. I've been up for a few hours. My wrist is killing me this morning. I didn't do anything, so I have no idea why the wrist is hurting. So let's go ahead, at least wake us up this morning. It is Manic Monday, so let me shut up and get our intro rolling out.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people. Sorry, I forgot I set up Nightbot yesterday, but I didn't do anything with it. So I'm surprised that it is knocking comments. I just saw that it knocked some comments, so I wanted to see if there's a way I can stop the Stop the integration. But I'm not having very much luck, so hopefully I can remove something. Okay, active chatters. Oh, there we are. So let's go ahead and take that out. Okay, I'm behind the scenes now. I think somebody's gonna have to, let's see what we got for the log. Did it tell me which messages? So it looks like anything with emojis, it's kicking. So, chat moderation. Maybe this is it. Ah, here we go. Okay, I'm excessive symbols. Let's disable that. Excessive symbols. We got links, blacklist word phrases. We'll take that off. Repetition disabled. Excessive emotes. Let me take that off. Excessive caps. We'll take that off. And we'll enable links so my people can still... Okay, I think we're good now. I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. Sorry, guys. I started looking and I'm like, deleted? Why is Rod Why is the Nightbot deleting? Or like, I know Rod. I mean, she never says anything bad. And so I was looking on here. Somebody throw some emojis in the chat. And I forgot I set it up on my phone and it wouldn't let me do anything. I couldn't go through it and I meant to get on my computer. I forgot all about it. I forgot I looked into it yesterday and apparently I must have set something up and I'm like, Nightbot, I didn't think I enabled that. I was just looking into it. That's all I was doing. And of course I connected the accounts to see what I could do, but I couldn't do anything. Anyways, good morning, guys. I know it's ridiculously early, but I'm up and I did some research yesterday. I was meaning to come live yesterday. Wasn't able to come live with you guys yesterday. And so wanted to come over some stuff with you guys today about some breaking news that I was learning about yesterday, which is still, it's not stale yet because a lot of the stuff is the craziness here in Florida. And we're going to be going over some of those stories here. But the first one we're going to start up, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on a second. Let me take this off and find the right one. The first one I'm going to be talking about is actually one that we've talked about slightly. Where is it? There it is. Okay, now I've got it up right. And do you guys remember this? This is Sudiksha Kunaki. And she was a Pittsburgh student that went to like the Dominican Republic, and she was there. There was another boy there from another state university. Well, we all thought, you know, her because some of us were kind of split down the middle. I know I was, because the information from that night that was coming from the government related to the waters and the story that the boy had given kind of coincided with one another. Her family went down there. The boy was kind of held there, could not leave for like a month or something like that. Well, I happened to do some research, and I entered something just kind of cattywampus, and this story came up from earlier in the year, and I'm like, I thought she would have been found by now. And so this wasn't a part of yesterday's story. This was actually the one thing that I added this morning, because I just assumed that she would have been located by now if the boy's story was true and accurate. Well, you can imagine my surprise when I find out that she still has never been found. Her body has never been found. Nobody has ever identified her or found her. Now, granted, the waterways are, you know, the undercurrent and stuff may have taken her out, but think about all of the shipping vessels that we've had in the water, especially in and around the Dominican Republic, since she disappeared. Certainly, somebody would have seen something floating. And we haven't heard any of that yet. So then this brings me back. Is that boy's story truthful? I don't know. Good morning, everyone. It is nice to see you. Sonia first in chat. Good morning, Dawn. Jewel, it's nice to see you. Melanie, good morning, my love. Eeyore, Donna, it's nice to see you. Rod, good morning. And of course we have Nightbot. It says, I'm only trying to help. Stop spamming symbols warning. Our Nightbot's not nice either. So Nightbot's here. I think we got the express. I think you guys could do everything. Oh, Steve, it's nice to see you. Allegedly Crimes. Kathleen, good morning. Rod said good morning, but it never pushed it through because it had emojis. Nightbot screaming at her, stop spamming. I am so sorry, Rod. The system went on a fritz this morning. And Cece, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Melanie reminding us to say, hey. Happy Monday, Betty, Delilah, Mods, and chat. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Betty, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Michelle, good morning, my love. I hope you're doing well. Who else do we have? The givers and the takers. It's nice to see you, my love. Hope you're doing well. Pat, good morning. Michelle, good morning. Erna, good morning. Pat. Who else? Denise, if I didn't say hi to you. Dee, good morning. Who else do we have? I haven't said hi to, and it bounced me up. Baby J, good morning. Caracre, DJ, it's nice to see you all. The Real Me Too, good morning. And all of my mods, in case I missed, I think I just got Sonia and The Real Me Too in here this morning. We haven't been live early in the morning in a while, but I kind of snuck and told you guys that we might be doing an early morning live because I'm up early morning and it's hard to wait until 10. You know, it's hard to wait until 10. So this is where we are. I think I got the sound stuff resolved here. I don't think we're going to have the kind of problems that we did have. We might. Only time will tell. Let me take this off. But I just thought that was pretty... wrong one. I just thought that was pretty interesting that... I just happened to stumble across this. We did cover this case because I was 50-50. I didn't want to think that a boy... But we all looked at that boy. He looked like... excuse me, a jock, and he probably wasn't the funnest person to be around whenever he was under the influence of alcohol. And we believe, well, we don't believe, we know that was absolutely 100% a contributing factor in that. They were drinking with their friends at a bar. Her friends left her with the guy, a guy she had just met. Poor decisions, no matter how you look at it, poor decisions. But she was having fun. It didn't appear that he was, exhibiting any weird vibes, but he's trying to say that she was taken out into the water, and we don't know, we don't know what happened out there, but he made it and she didn't. The weird thing is he was out there for many, many, many hours, and he said it was because he passed out on the beach. Maybe he was hiding her, and that's gonna haunt me. That case is gonna haunt me a little bit. Her parents are highly upset, but for all intents and purposes, they believed him. They came out there, they had an opportunity to speak with him, and they her parents believed it was time for him to come home. I just don't know. I just don't know. I think it is a little crazy. Now we're going to just start going through some stories, guys, that are in Florida that are just, I don't even know what really to say. 37-year-old mother allegedly abandons a child and 7 dogs, including several who were severely emaciated, to go to a trip to Las Vegas. This is right here in Florida. Just some crazy stories, and this is not the only crazy story coming out of Florida. If you guys notice, I don't really focus too much on Florida. I run stories here, but it doesn't mean that my state's not as messed up. I'm just saying it's not as messed up as Tennessee. At least we know how to do investigations, we know how to do forensics, and we know how to lock people up on low-hanging fruit and keep them away from people so they can't injure anybody. We don't play, I mean, I'm sure there are some places. I mean, we have, you know, Orange County, Osceola, they're a hot mess express. They are truly the embarrassment, in my opinion, of Florida. They are the literal armpit of the state of Florida, is Osceola and Orange County. Not that the people are. I'm talking about as far as law enforcement and law and order. So if you're from Orlando or the Kissimmee, Davenport area, I'm not being disrespectful to the citizens there. I'm being disrespectful to your leadership. Okay, just want to make sure it's ultra clear who I'm condemning here. Okay, when I condemn areas, it's typically not the people, the good, hardworking people. It's typically not their beat cops or their men and women of blue. It is the hierarchy is what I'm talking about, because all those people underneath, they have to follow orders. They don't have a right for decision making. They are told what to do, and if they do something wrong, who do I blame? I definitely don't blame them that are following orders. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing everything right, even though it's wrong. So who do you blame? You blame the people giving the orders. So always remember that. And I find all too often so many people go to the people that, you know, don't have the choice, that have to follow the orders, and they chew them people out. Those aren't the people you should be chewing out. They're doing their job, and they're executing it in the order of which their boss is telling them to. So we have to go after the boss. Right? We got to throw the boss under the bus. Aw, thank you. Show some BHB love. It's nice to see ya. It's nice to see ya. So this is like all types crazy. This was children and animals. She wanted to go on a vacation, and she went at the risk of her children. Remember that one other chick? She left her. Golly, what a. She left her child in a crib and took off for, I think, the Dominican Republic or something like that. And when she came back, her daughter was deceased. Like, I don't know how she thought a child, an infant that was in it was horrible. And then you hear something like this, and it just gives you that deja vu feeling. The deja vu feeling of what is wrong with parents. These children cannot survive without nutrients. That woman, you could tell she was upset her child died. What did she think? Apparently she thought her mom knew, or the neighbors were going to stop by, or something like that, and messages got crossed. Well, even if messages got crossed, you were gone for how many days and you didn't even bother checking on your child? An infant child? Like, when my mom has Delilah, like, I talk to my mom regularly. When my mom has Delilah, she doesn't just talk to me regularly, she talks to me several times a day. I am constantly checking just to make sure, you know, Delilah is adjusting well, that she's pooping and peeing properly, that she's eaten, you know, all the stuff that you worry. And again, this is an animal, not my child. And I worry about, and with my mother, of all people, she raised me. I mean, I know my mom's a great mom. So I have no need to worry about my dog and my mother's care, but I still worry when I'm not with my dog. And I would have to think that a lot of parents are similar about their children that they give birth to, okay? I'd have to think that that is probably what I feel for Delilah on steroids, you know, when somebody else has their baby, you know, taking care of their baby. Even family, even trusted family, you still always have a fear of something happening that was unexpected. So that's kind of, you know, just, I don't quite understand it. I don't think I ever will. If you guys haven't heard of this thing called, this account called True Crime News, I actually like it. It comes with some of the most crazy like it picks the top insane cases of the week and rolls with it. Like it's like you can't get on this channel here, True Crime News, without it being crazy. I saw this case. I was going to run with this case, but in light of children missing, it wasn't one that took a top priority for this channel, but it did make it on this, true crime. And I watched this arrest of this lady, but what I don't understand is we're so stringent on, if you guys don't know, let me just give you a little history about me. So at some point, whenever you guys knew about my 20s, I told you guys about the hooting and the hollering and all the problems and everything like that. Well, many of you guys know that I started getting sober from narcotics and things like that about 2007. Okay, well, I ended up going into a sober living environment, and part of that was you couldn't have a job when you first got in there. You had to prove yourself, 90 meetings, 90 days, again, a sober living environment. It wasn't a halfway house or anything like that. It was a sober living environment that cost a lot of money to live in. And so after I met to my first stage, then I was able to get a job. Well, if you know anything about me, I work in offices, legal firms, real estate firms, insurance companies, mortgages, stuff like that. And so this was my break-in career for insurance. This is when I was acquiring my 215 insurance license. And long story short, I ended up I went in because I was selling long-term care, healthcare type policies as you age, having people come to your house versus going to a nursing home. It's a long-term care policy if you guys are ever interested. If you have aging parents, I recommend you guys getting fees locked in now because it's a lot cheaper to purchase a policy now versus when you need it, because typically when you need it, you're not going to get it because they check a lot of things, cognitive and stuff like that. Just FYI, I'm not selling any products. Don't even have a license anymore. Gave that up years ago. Long story short is part of that is I wanted to know about CNAs and stuff. People always ask me like what the difference is between CNA and LPN, RN. At the time, I really didn't know. I was 20-something years old, just trying to get my life back together. I'm learning a lot, but as far as those things are concerned, I was unsure. So I ended up, I'm not sure if it was partly because I was tired of selling insurance, maybe wanted a new profession, or just curiosity about the profession because I was selling the insurance, and maybe a combination of both. Went into the CNA course and stuff like that. And the stringent requirements for me to become a CNA, an LPN, an RN are years and years. Some of the stuff is easy, some of the stuff is not easy, some of the stuff is a lot of test taking, what do they call them, the labs, where you have to do the stuff in front of an instructor on the person and stuff like that. Whatever the case may be, it's hard for them not, in all of the stuff, every time they talked about licensing and, working for doctors and checking licenses, much like real estate, much like mortgage, you're constantly having to make sure the people are licensed in the field. It's my responsibility to make sure the people that I work for are properly licensed. As crazy as that sounds, that's the truth. If I were to get a license with a doctor, I would be required to check his licensure before I worked for him to make sure I'm not violating the law. So I don't understand how this happened, it's a long way to get to where I don't understand how this happened. How she was able to provide, a certificate, they gotta go through authentication. How many people are in the nursing industry? I didn't even ask that question before I started the story. Some of you guys might already have a very good idea how difficult it is to go practice medicine on somebody without a license. Now, I've heard of plastic surgeons in Miami doing plastic surgery without a license, setting up shop, having medical billet. I never understood how they were able to get away with it, but obviously they're forging some type of documentation. But 4,400 patients? That to me is telling me somebody did not do their job. I mean, we know criminals, okay? Criminals are going to be criminals, whatever. Maybe she had a license and lost it and still wanted to practice, because with 4,400 patients and no complaints about your services is a little, you know, she obviously had some type of education in the medical field to get away with this, is what I'm saying. But posing as a nurse and treating 4,400 patients, knowing that somebody could have lost their life if she had done something wrong, that's a little scary, because I'm almost guaranteeing that majority of her clients were the elderly, because most of the people that are in nursing, a lot of their clients are the elderly, because as they age, they need more medical attention. And as their bodies start breaking down on them, you know, all of our bodies are going to start breaking down on us at some point. I mean, shoot, I've been feeling it all last week. I mean, while we're, you know, I'm a registered medical assistant and a CNA. Well, there you go. And I don't understand how this, because if I didn't have the experience and the knowledge of the CNA class and all the protocols that went along with this, I wouldn't be able to speak or even understand how this worked. I would have just said, well, she must have forged a document. But it's not about that. I mean, there's a huge undertaking when you go and apply for a job in the medical field. A lot of background checks. So I just don't understand how this tells me that the company she worked for just didn't care. They weren't looking into it. They didn't do any of their due diligence that they're required to do. Like I told you, if I go to work for an insurance company or a mortgage company, it's my responsibility to make sure that they have the proper licensure, that I'm not risking my license, you know, for my employer. And it works the opposite way for the employees. They do the same thing. Make sure that I have the proper licensure and pass the proper background checks. Michelle gifted a bull. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I need to put my little chat box up. I'll work on the chat box and getting chat box on our system. So that's what the whole Nightbot thing was, as I saw the Nightbot working in Mr. and Mrs. E's chat, and I thought, oh, that'd be great to implement, but I haven't had, all I did was, you know, use my phone and see what it was, and by that time you already linked your account to get in there, and it's like I couldn't get into the commands or anything like that. I guess you got to do it from the computer. So little did I know, when I come in here this morning and it started blocking some comments, I'm like, whoa, I didn't do anything, and apparently I did. I just didn't know it. So I'll work on that and get that, which might be helpful, because from what I hear, the Nightbot is like another automated moderator. Oh, look who it is. Hey, Jules, it's nice to see you. Good morning, love. Well, give Ara a big hug and a kiss from me. Make sure it's a sloppy kiss, okay? You got to give it back the way she gives it to me, okay? Pucker up, Jules. Pucker up. No, I'm just joking. Aw, sweet Ara. Well, I hope you are doing well. Usually I'm not up this early, but I had everything going for yesterday. I was going to start my live. I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it yesterday. I wasn't, I don't know if it's the weather, if I stretched my back or threw my back out or what, but I've been in a little bit of pain. The pain has subsided, but check this out. Like, I went to bed fine, and my wrist, of all things, I haven't done anything. And this morning I'm waking up and my wrist is throbbing. I'm like, what the heck? You know, like it feels like I kept it like this too long. Like I must have had my hand, I don't know, I must have slept weird on it, but it hurts right here. Just like right here when I move it. It's right there in that little dimple. You know, you got the knuckle right there, and it's right there in that dimple. And I stop, Sonia. I know I'm getting old. She says she'll do anything for a soft pretzel. Well, hopefully I get out to PA again. I want to spend some more time. I would have loved to spend time with everybody out there. You know, whenever I do get out, it's few and far between these days. We were a little more active once upon a time, but we'll get back out there once money starts, freeing itself up. We have budgets. Oh, I was told by my bestie the other day it might be arthritis. Well, today's the first day, so I'm hoping that I just slept on the wrist wrong, but it didn't feel good this morning. I woke up and I'm like, you know, the first thing I think of, because I'm always on the computer, always typing, always researching, is carpal tunnel, you know? That was kind of like the thing that the parents all got back in, you know, back in the day, because they were on those typewriters, but the typewriters were big, bulky things that stood like inches off the counter, you know, and I guess it's same, but hey Dee, it's nice to see you. Soft pretzels are $1 at Sonic, between 2 and 5. Oh, ooh, look at that. I went to Sonic when they had the half-off milkshakes. My neighbor would see my car. I don't leave very often. So, when they were having the sale, the first time I left it, like, because I just don't leave here after 6. If I've got things to do, I usually get them done first thing in the morning. You know, I'm usually do my live, and then if I have any grocery shopping or anything that I do it after the live, you know, before the evening or before I get out in the yard. And so it was just, I don't know, it was just a little crazy, but we'll stop there. I don't think there's a Sonic near me. You know what? Whenever I was with Olivia in North Carolina, the nearest Sonic was like 20 minutes away, and I made her go. And because it was 20 minutes away and it was like the only Sonic in the area, I went there like I think 1 or 2 times, and they were out of ice cream. How does Sonic run out of ice cream? This one poor little Sonic in North Carolina was like the only Sonic within like a 20-mile radius, and they couldn't even keep ice cream in stock. It was so popular. I was so upset because I had been on this you know, Sonic cheesecake strawberry milkshake diet. It was a very good diet, you know. I don't know if it was quite a diet. I noticed that I, you know, gained a couple pounds, but it was delicious. It was delicious. Justice Mama. Hey. Why is my screen black? Oh, it's probably, I noticed that some of the, I've been hearing it's the advertisements. The advertisements are supposed to be kicking in, and some of the advertisements are blank. Or they're not, the bandwidth is slow. Because I got this, I don't know if it has something to do with me having this on low latency or not, but it might. I'll try to do it normal tomorrow, but I find that the low latency gives a good quality image, so I just wanted to do that. Because Ray Kroc, the founder, started his career as milkshake machine salesman. Interesting. I have premium and it's doing it too. Oh, well then it might be my, I'll have to try this. There's some settings in here, like I said, and I can tell that in the intro, there's some type of, like, the very first day we did the intro, it worked well. I just feel, yeah, because the computer's getting warm. I noticed that OBS takes a lot to run the show, so that's a problem. I think that this is probably best for a desktop versus a laptop, but we'll keep moving through it. We'll keep moving through it. And I still don't understand how they were able to do that. And here we have another one. Vacationer allegedly tries to drown daughter-in-law at Florida resort. This does not look like the kind of guy... Sorry, it does that when I'm trying to flip between the two. Does this look like the kind of guy that you guys see, like, smacking the crap out of the daughter-in-law and dunking her head underwater? I'm sorry. But, maybe, you know, alcohol does... What does Chaos say? Babe, milkshake, bring all the girls to the yard. I'm telling you, I've got, that's the only time my neighbor, he'd be like, you had to go get another milkshake tonight? I got a small this time. No, I didn't. I got a medium. The mediums at Sonic are like a large everywhere else. I think the smalls are like the mediums everywhere else. But they have a freaking large. It's a freaking styrofoam cup. Like, this thing's huge. It's like 3 milkshakes into one. And believe it or not, I could probably take one of those things down in a matter of minutes without even getting a brain freeze. I'm just saying. The trick is, yep, strawberry cheesecake. YouTuber strawberry cheesecake. Yep, that's mine too. That is exactly mine. I tried, well, actually, I like the plain cheesecake a little better than the strawberry cheesecake because I think they added a little too, like, I like cheesecake more than I like the strawberries, so I want the cheesecake overpowering with a little bit of strawberry taste, like, you know, like a cheesecake. When they put the thing, they only put a little bit of strawberry syrup over it. You know, if you want the strawberry cheesecake, they don't, like, load it up. Well, I found that this was had too much, unless they just made it that way here at this Sonic, but had too much strawberry in it for me. I like the cheesecake. Cheesecake should not be a drink. I am a cheesecake fanatic. If I can drink it, boot it, eat it, we'll leave it there. Just tap it in. Tap it in. I just can't see this. So, this is in Grady Judd's area. So this is on August 3rd, and this is at the Solterra Resort and Pine Tree Trail. And they were talking about a disturbance in the back swimming pool. The victim and the witness claim 62-year-old Mark Gibbon of Beaconsfield, England. So these people are from England. Sorry, guys from England, but you got some of your own problems, and you sent them our way. No. According to the sheriff, the victim told authorities she and Gibbon began arguing about his granddaughter while they were on a vacation rental home swimming pool, and that Gibbon allegedly pushed and held his daughter-in-law's head underwater numerous times. That had to have been pretty scary, though. You know, that had to have been pretty scary. And I just, I'm going to move my light out of the way just a little bit so I can see what else is going on here. This doesn't have whatever I was looking at before. There was something in here and I don't know what it was. Why is this on here? There had to have been something here. Unless I just forgot to delete it. We're moving along. Some of this stuff was from yesterday, so... Oh! The South Carolina. This is about our boy Alec Murdaugh. Now, if you guys don't know about the disgraced attorney from South Carolina, this is Alec. Let me move the other way. There we go. This is Alec Murdaugh, and he has been convicted of shooting his wife and son in an effort for people not to realize he was this massive con artist. And he was. His family had been in control of low country South Carolina for almost or over 100 years, right near 100 years, 99 years to 100 years. They were in control of the courts, the Murdaugh family. They were in control of the courts. Alec, from everything I understood, was a great attorney. However, they say it's because of this substance abuse that he had this massive pill problem. They actually arrested his alleged dealer. I don't know if you guys saw that, but his alleged dealer is now in prison. But there is a big hoopla because they wanted to get him. And this is corruption and political, all kind of wrapped up into one case because Alec had been playing this shell game with money and his house cards were falling in. He was going to have to turn over some major discovery. He knew that what he was doing was fraudulent, embezzlement, financial crimes. And in an effort for people to feel sorry for him or dissuade this moving toward a jury trial, his patsies was his wife and his son. He shot them in an effort for sympathy. He was a cold-blooded killer that wanted to try to hide his crimes. Well, all of those came just flooding out because first he said he hadn't been home, he wasn't down at the dog kennels, and his son unintentionally or inadvertently recorded him there, which put holes all in this man's story. And then, they ultimately convicted him. But Becky Hill was the clerk of the courts in Colton, South Carolina. And the Murdaugh team, the defense team, said that she was putting her hands on the scale of justice for notoriety, this book deal, financial gain as the clerk, and that she had manipulated or swayed the jury to find him guilty. And it has been this legal battle. I will be honest with you. I did not believe that the clerk would do this or would jeopardize herself. I know defense attorneys, they will exploit any possibility of impropriety, whether it is or isn't. That's just their job. Anything that they can do to use to challenge the courts or the state, they will. And this was one of those things. So I didn't believe it. But then slowly but surely, Becky's son ended up getting arrested for wiretapping. And I know country boys, and I know he would have never done that to jeopardize his mom's career and his career without her knowing. I just know. I don't know how I know, but when I know, and I knew beyond a reasonable doubt in my mind that when her son got arrested, that she's willing to do dirty. And that's never a good look when it comes to my support of anybody. Because if you're willing to do that, what else are you willing to do? That's my mentality. And she ended up losing her job. I was there in Judge Toll, South Carolina Supreme Court. I was there in front of Judge Toll. I listened to Becky Hill lie through her teeth to a judge. We all did. And I want to tell you, I walked in there supporting Becky Hill. I walked out of there calling her a liar. So from that point, I kind of looked at, Dick Harpootlian, and I took pictures with him and spoke to them and asked them questions. Because I told him I didn't believe him. I said it publicly while cameras were rolling. I didn't believe you. How did you guys do it? How did you find this? I wanted to know what they did, and they just kept following, kept investigating, kept asking questions. But she did try to sway the jury. I truly believe she did attempt to, knowingly or unknowingly, try to sway the jury. But at the end of the day, trying to sway a jury and swaying a jury are two totally different things. And I also heard every single one of those jury members come up before the judge and answer the judge's questions. And I heard them tell them that yes, Becky did make these underhanded comments, but no, it did not affect how I ruled or what my ruling was over Alec Murdaugh. I heard every single one of them. Even the one that said that she felt pressured by Becky when she was under cross-examination, and when Judge Toll asked her, she openly stated in open court that it really wasn't Becky. It was the other jury members pressuring her. And that is exactly what is supposed to go on behind those jury walls, right? Because you start out with maybe taking a vote, or, some people go straight to the evidence and getting the evidence and talking about the evidence, then taking their first vote. But it's basically, do you believe they're innocent or guilty? And then you guys get to work and try to get the one side over to your side, or you over to their side, so you can have a unanimous decision about the crime. That's kind of typically how, that's not the ins and outs, but that in a nutshell is typically how it works. So even this one jury that originally said it was Becky, when she was on the stand and questioned, she expressed that it was the jury body, not Becky, pressuring her. And that's exactly the way the process is supposed to work. So she didn't really have much of a leg to stand on. But let's just see what they're saying related to this. So Alec Murdaugh's appeals the state of South Carolina, and they fire back, calling evidence overwhelming and misconduct claims overblown. Which, hearing what I heard from the jury body, they're trying to have a retrial. I truly think Judge Toll ruled properly. I think that there was issues with Becky, but I don't think it was enough that it swayed the jury in any way. Therefore, it should not provide him an avenue for a new trial. I think it's their position, Alec Murdaugh's defense team, that with just the appearance of impropriety should be enough to support a new trial, whether or not it swayed the jury. And I think they may even be taking I haven't read the documents in a while, they may even be taking the position that it could have still swayed the jury. So this will be interesting. We still haven't stopped watching it yet. We still haven't stopped following it yet. But in one of the most anticipated appellate filings in South Carolina history, state's prosecutors have delivered a 182-page rebuttal to Alec Murdaugh's bid for a new trial, portraying that disbarred lawyer's jury tampering allegation is legally hollow, insisting that the overwhelming evidence sealed his fate, not the offhand remarks of a court official. And that's what it was. It was offhand remarks here and there. She went over her authority to tell them, she wanted to be careful, make sure you pay really close attention to the Alec's statements and body language. You see? It's not telling them how to vote, but it shouldn't have been done. No matter how we look at it, it should not have been done, period. And so the prosecutors, Murdaugh's appeal, prosecutors say evidence overwhelming, misconduct claims are overblown, much like what we had just said. In one of the most highly anticipated filings, I think this is a reverb of what we were just reading. Okay, on the defense, first two issues both focus on alleged jury tampering. Prosecutors took an unflinching stance while acknowledging that Hill told juries to watch Murdaugh's body language when he testified, and suggested they shouldn't hold on, where am I? Body language, and when he testified, and suggest they shouldn't deliberate for long. So those were the comments that they're focusing on. Again, nothing that is saying vote, go against Alec Murdaugh. Just some underhanded comments. I don't think those are going to rise to the level of a new trial. I really don't. But we'll see how this works. I mean, he's got some pretty good attorneys. James Griffin and Dick Hart-Pullian, they've earned their place to be here. They've ran a great defense, whether we like it or not. We don't like the criminal, not the defense attorneys. I mean, the defense attorneys kind of ticked us off. They were pretty rude, but that's their job, right? They're trying to get their client vindicated. So the brief characterizations characterizes Hill's alleged comments as foolish and fleeting, stressing they were heard by only 3 jurors. So again, not the whole jury body. And most critically, according to them, it did not influence their verdict. They testified. These jurors testified before Judge Toll, saying that those comments had nothing to do with why they came back with a guilty verdict. So is this the story, the stuff wages on, okay? This wages on. We're going to be finding out. By the way, justice for Rachel Morin today. Oh, thank God. Hallelujah. I was out there. Actually, I still think I got some videos from my from the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail on my phone. We went out there. It was sad. It was just, I don't know. We went to where she was ultimately found. I know people have, I'm not disputing. I know people have bleeding hearts and want to help, humanitarian around this country and around this world, and I get that. But when you start bringing people from third world countries that have to fight and kill just for basic necessities, and you bring them to a civilized a world where they don't have to take what they want, they still take what they want. And that includes when they have needs, certain needs, and they are barbarians. And that's what people don't understand. Are there good people just looking for jobs? Yes. And that's why we vet people coming into this country. But when you just let people come over here, you have things like Rachel Warren. Because these people were told, if you want it, you take it. That's how they were taught their entire lives. If you want it, you take it. So how do we change that in somebody? We can't. It's ingrained in them at that point. It's like a lame horse. You can't fix it. So you don't bring those people in this country. You let them stay where they're at and let them be barbarians in their own country. But these people that did this to Rachel Warren and Laken Riley, they were just the face. There were so many more that didn't get that attention, and they should have, because they were beautiful lives lost. Beautiful lives lost. And I really hope that I hope it stops. All of it. Just the violence and the hate. I just hope it stops. There was a post on X that says, if you could stop one thing in this world, what would it be? In the world. One thing. And my answer was hate. If I could stop one thing in this world, what would it be? And it'd be hate. Well, guess what? I will be doing some training in Florida. Oh, detainee operations this fall. Well, when you come down to Florida, let me know. I'll drive down there. Meet with you if you have time. So, or if it's training, work stuff, try to see if you can stay an extra day. Maybe we'll go to the beach. But that would be awesome. If anyone goes to Walterboro and likes the Waffle House, go to the one on Snyder's Highway. We went somewhere out there in Colton County, and I can't remember, and we went to a buffet. It was like this little, country buffet in this, old backwoods. It was really good, and they had good food, and it was full, there's a lot of people there, which always tells you that it's a good place. But Olivia got some pudding, and she thought she was putting, I don't know, something on her pudding. And it ended up being poppy seed dressing. And her and I just start busting out laughing in this very small but packed all-you-can-eat buffet. And I'm trying to record her. We're sticking out like a sore thumb anyways because we didn't look like we belonged. And she's pouring poppy seed dressing on her pudding. It was great. When we make an introduction and an intro, we definitely do. So, just a little update on the Alec Murdaugh stuff. I think he's guilty. I pulled a few articles about it. We're not going to get into those. Let me see if this one kept my people's. Oh, yeah, this is some of the research I was doing. I'm not ready for that story yet. That's a sad story. 4-week-old baby. His father hits him. How do you hit I don't understand. Do these people not realize that, you can't hit children, like babies. They are so fragile. I don't understand how these parents don't know you can't put your hands on your infants, your days old, weeks old, months old children. They're like China. Okay? They crack very easily. I don't understand. Most people are very happy about having a child. They, do a lot of research to become a good parent. They want to make sure that they're prepared. I don't understand how people aren't, and how we as society aren't preparing our young people that are going to be expecting moms and dads for the expectation of children, or how to handle children. Or maybe giving them the tools to deal with, life. Because life, I can guarantee, has no safe spaces. They have no coloring books. They got no crayons. Yeah, that's the real world. That's the real world. Let me keep going here. We got some... Oh, I know what I was going to talk to you about. Oh, in the... This is... So Giovanni Pelletier was found down the road from me, 20 minutes away from me. My sheriff, I mean, we're waiting for an autopsy. It could be what they say, but there's the cousin's story doesn't make sense. There's just something not right with the whole story of the knife, him getting out of the car. Something isn't right. Something is not making sense. I am following everything I can. I'm reading the reports that are out there publicly, and it sounds like the investigative body, we should be having, they're doing, we hopefully should have cause and manner maybe today or tomorrow, hopefully by Wednesday. They're looking into toxicology and everything else. I think toxicology is going to be important. I know nobody's talking about substances, but if the cousin's story is true, we have to explain the erratic behavior, and there's no way I can explain the erratic behavior without incorporating some type of substance in it. He either had mental health issues that nobody's talking about, or he was on substance. That's, again, if the cousin's story is true. We have to give, analyze this case with little information. So you can't just have only one theory in a situation like that. You have to have multiple theories, and as information starts becoming available, the multiple theories start reducing, because the ones that are going to be more supportive of the facts are going to start revealing themselves, and then you're starting to eliminate some of the theories that you have, and it starts becoming clear what avenue you're going down. At least that's my process. It's worked well for me. Hey, Faye. Hey, Phil. It's nice to see you. And then we have Jan 24. I don't know who that is. Good morning. It's nice to see you. They give me weird names on this end of stuff, so I'm sure your names that they have there. Guys, if you don't mind, we're just going to take kind of like a little intro break. I'm out of coffee, and we still have a lot to go over, so we have one of two choices. I'm not sitting here without coffee. I can end the stream, or you guys can wait a few moments so I can go get some coffee. I'm pretty sure everybody is just like me and just says, hey, we'll just wait a few minutes and let you go get some coffee. Sounds pretty good. So, while I do that, let me go ahead and put this up. Well, we'll put this up and put this body found. Let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's see if we can get the volume up. Let me see if you guys can hear
But has come to a tragic end. Family members of 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier confirming his body has been found. Our Tom George is following the latest in that developing story for us. He's standing by with what more experts are saying on what the next steps in this investigation are. You're watching Eyewitness News at 11. Thank you so much for choosing us tonight. I'm Dewan Hogard. Bianca has the night off. It's been a little bit more than a week since 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier was last seen. Today, his family is sharing that heartbreaking news that the body found yesterday in a pond in Florida was his. Tom George has been following this story since we first told you about it. He joined us live now from downtown Raleigh. Now, Tom, this was obviously, we know that the family wanted to know where Giovanni was, but this is not the way that they wanted to find him. Just absolutely heartbreaking here.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking, Dewan. The original plan was that they were supposed to be going back to North Carolina a week ago. Instead, his family's still down in Florida first for that search, and then getting that heartbreaking news. Now the next steps are that this is all still under investigation and still leading to some questions about what exactly happened to Gio.
Bridget Pelletier posting this heartbreaking message on Facebook saying, "I am living every parent's worst nightmare, trying to find the strength to give him the goodbye he deserves." As his family mourns the loss of Gio, who just graduated Fuquay-Varina High School a few months ago, the investigation now turning to how he died. His body found not by police but by private investigators brought in by his family, found in a retention pond near an off-ramp of I-75 in Florida, near where his backpack and phone were found.
Now they've got evidence to possibly gain from his body, from the point of him getting out of the car to where his body was found, finding evidence, DNA evidence, How did he die? What's the cause and manner of death?
His cause of death likely to provide clues investigators can then match up with the version of events given by the cousins he got in the car with. 20 minutes after getting in that car came that ominous text to his mom asking for help. His cousins telling investigators Gio was acting erratically and pulled a
Did you guys hear that? 20 minutes. He was only in the car for 20 minutes. That is new information that we did not know about before. I'm sorry. When I read this case initially, everything was screaming red flags to me with the cousins. Then we learned from Broward County Sheriff that he never made it down to, Brevard County Sheriff, and never made it down to Brevard because the cousins were from Mims, Florida. They never made it there, and now we're finding out from this report that this child was, 20 minutes, only 20 minutes after leaving. I don't know. I got some problems. Hold on.
Some kind of episode and panicked.
Let me just go back just a little bit. There we go.
Well, maybe he had some kind of episode and panicked, ran out of the car, and fell into the water somehow. It just sounds very hokey that would be the situation. But the fact that he called asking for help several times to different family members is something that they really are probably focusing.
Experts say one way or another, the cousins he was with will have to be fully investigated before ruling them out.
My question would be, why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you call the family? How long was it before they actually talked to the family to say, oh, he's not missing, here's what happened? That's the timeline's going to be very crucial on that.
Yeah, that 20-minute timeline, so crucial. And again, that investigation now continuing right now. The coroner says that there were no immediate signs of foul play. However, they still need to do a full autopsy, which is happening tomorrow, which will hopefully lead to some more answers, Dewan.
Thank you, guys. What I was saying is, did you guys hear that? 20 minutes after he left, he's sending his mother a text. Didn't the text come in around 1:30 in the morning? Am I hearing that correct? Did he leave the house at 1 o'clock in the morning to go hang out with his cousins? Oh, thank you, Phil. Does anybody know? Ah, hey, dreaming blue skies and sandy beaches. Nice to see you. Oh, Boogie's up in the house. Hey, Boog. It is interesting. Yeah, he left at 1:30 in the morning. Guys, like, all the bars close down at 2 a.m. here. Like, what would anybody be doing at 1 o'clock in the morning around here? And not only that, they were in Charlotte County. Like, Charlotte County's old folk place. That's where all the older folks live. I mean, not all. I mean, it's Florida. It's the retirement capital. There's older folks everywhere. I mean, hell, I'm getting up there myself. So, yes, they picked him up at 1:30. Like I said, if their story is true, there's something more here. 20 minutes. And they keep calling these people his cousins. Are they his cousins? I mean, are we positive that they are blood related to him? That this wasn't some type of catfishing scheme or robbery? Because this is the first time he met them. It's just weird. I know something's not right. Their story doesn't make sense, but you guys all have to remember, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. And the reason why I keep harping on that is because I feel like we're going to find out that something did happen. He's 18 years old. He's hanging out with the cousins he hasn't met in a while. You know, maybe they smoked some green and somebody laced it with something that made him flip out. That's one theory, but 20 minutes after, that means if something really truly happened and the cousins were involved, that means this was planned. They should have some type of planning, because this would be, in my opinion, a robbery. 20 minutes? That's not a lot of time after driving all the way from Mims to see your cousin for the first time. What could they have possibly said in that vehicle that would cause him to freak out? Here in Greece, we leave the club with our sunglasses on. Well, Faye, not here in Florida. 2 a.m.'s your limit, okay? You know what? It's the highlight of the year when we have, daylight savings time and it goes back an hour and everybody can stay at the bars and party for an extra hour, That's like the highlight every year for people around here. That's it. That's to the extent. 2 a.m., things in Florida shut down. Okay? Most people here in Florida are in bed by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, just about everybody in the county except people that are actually working. But there's nothing, and I can guarantee you there is nothing to do in Sarasota or Manatee County or Charlotte County after 2 a.m. except riding around and getting in trouble. It's 9 p.m. Monday night, so it will be good night shortly. Aw, okay, Sharon. Well, take care. Have sweet dreams. Miami clubs stay open until 5. I remember going down to Miami to South Beach, and I remember their bars were open pretty late. I remember that. I remember coming in around 4 a.m. when I went down to South Beach, and the bars were still I don't know how they get away with that. Maybe it's maybe everybody here, maybe it's ordinances. Most of our counties have the 2 a.m., last call, but again, I don't know. South Beach is a little different, but I remember being at a club. I mean, I was 20-something, so it's foggy. I will tell you that. I can't even remember what I did last week, but I remember, because I got in town at midnight, and I remember Leslie and I went out clubbing right as I pulled in. I came from a wedding. I remember that. I came from a wedding, went straight down to South Beach. Me and Leslie went out to the club. I could not believe how crazy it was. We went to bed, and I don't even think I stayed down there but a day, maybe 2. Hey, Shauna, it's nice to see you. Only in Miami, yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff in Miami, I'll tell you that. I want to get to that Aaron Pettigrew, and I don't think that's it. Where is he? That's the person that's been... We've got a lot of investigations. Oh, these are the interesting one. That's off. Where's Aaron's? I could have sworn I had him up. We should be getting close. I want you guys to see this.
You've heard the name Travis Decker. You've probably also heard of Austin Drummond, the man who was arrested today in connection with the quadruple case. But do you know the name Aaron Pennington? Because you should, and you should also be on the lookout for him. Aaron Pennington has been on the run since October 2023. There is a warrant out for his arrest for taking the life of his wife, Breanne Pennington. But no one seems to know about this case when I post about it. So who is looking for Aaron Pennington? On October 22nd, 2023, 30-year-old Breanne Pennington was found in an upstairs bedroom of her Gardner, Massachusetts home, and she was no longer alive. Her 4 children were
I'm going to keep forgetting to do that. I know I'm muted. I just forget. I forget because this is a new system, so I'm constantly having to bounce between mics. But I've got to tell you, this guy here, we covered this case as one of our intro cases going into a topic. I don't know what case we were covering. It might have been the Idaho 4, Brian Koberger, but I remember Aaron's case. And I remember because if you guys recall, this is one of those cases where this guy was like a Boy Scout. No traffic tickets, no nothing. Good Mormon guy. And he goes straight from having nothing straight to murder. No car tickets, no domestics. But I am finding out that there was a lot of calls and incidences to that family home, just nothing that resulted in an arrest. So that was new information that I had not known. But Aaron Pennington went on a run and nobody found him, and we kind of moved on with another case. It might have even been during the Danilo Cavalcanti manhunt, because there was like some 3 major cases that went on in this country at the same time that this Aaron Pennington was on the run. But the shocking part of it is I just assumed Aaron had been picked up, and he had not. He's still on the run, and he's military trained, much like Decker, and has had overseas training as well. I can't remember what country that him and his wife were living in, but it is my understanding that everything was good, and then they move here, and things are a little chaotic. His wife is unhappy. She wants a divorce. Next thing you know, she's dead and he's nowhere to be found. He seems like a pretty notable guy. He's a good-looking guy. He's got sharp blue eyes. These military men have such high self-harm rates. It just makes me... He left all of his possessions behind. He's touched nothing. Could he be on the run? Or could he be in the backwoods somewhere deceased? I don't know. I truly believe Decker is in the backwoods deceased somewhere. But again, I don't know. He could rear his ugly head anywhere. And it's scary because he had what it took to take out his children. Not his wife or his ex-wife, his children, which is just a level of depravity I don't like. Not that taking out an adult is better or easier, but come on, let's be honest here. If we had to choose between a child or an adult, and it had to be one or the other, we would choose an adult any day. I'm sorry, we just would. At least I would. If I had no other choice but a child or an adult. Or let me put it this way. It was the choice between an adult and a child. I would say the adult. I would stand in that place. Children should be protected. They're the innocent of the innocent. And Travis Decker had what it took to, hurt kids. This man took it out on his wife, but that tells me there was a lot of stuff going on behind those doors that nobody wanted to talk about. And that's what the scariest part is, because nobody believes it's going to happen to them until it does. And what I'm noticing about these people is they've taught these kids to bottle until they explode. None of these people have outlets. Well, like me, my outlet is telling people to F off, right? Go take a hike. That's my coping mechanism. A lot of these people are taught that you having your opinion or your own mental clarity is somehow, you're not thinking of other people. I don't need to think of strangers, okay? When people are in need, if I can help, I help. That's being a good person. But I'm not going out of my way to give myself up to some stranger. And these people just, they bottle. They're taught to be nice. They're taught, why don't you just teach people to vent appropriately so they don't have to bottle it up and have these explosions, because these explosions that they're having are lethal. Just my opinion. Poor girl. Let's listen to the rest of it.
Were allegedly at home when her life was taken, and one of those children ran to a neighbor's house to ask for help, and that's when police were called. Her husband, Aaron Pennington, was gone, and by the next evening, his car was found abandoned down a wooded trail at Camp Collier. But Aaron was nowhere to be found. Investigators learned that Brianne was planning to leave Aaron. She had expressed fear for her safety and had been preparing to escape with the children. Investigators also say that the home security system, which included cameras and a DVR, had been disconnected sometime before Brianne's life was taken. None of the cameras were recording. But
that's a level of, premeditation, disabling the cameras. And I forgot, one of the things that I learned, I shouldn't say learned, but I was watching, and I don't know whose channel I was watching, and this comes to the Sebastian Rogers case. And we've been kind of bouncing around with, was it a parental abduction, that was brought about by this organization at the Texas Roadhouse. And then, there's some of us that believe something happened at the house, but I kind of had like an epiphany yesterday. And I think it's because we had the Austin Drummond case, but I had this kind of epiphany yesterday about the Sebastian Rogers case. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's definitely something we have not entertained, at least that I think we've entertained. Let me give some history. So in Austin Drummond, when we were analyzing the case and giving our initial assessments and going over the fact that these people were deceased, all four of them, and trying to figure out what this could mean, because four people from the same family, that in and of itself for me made me feel like it was personal. So that's what developed kind of this potential DV, domestic violence type of scenario with Austin Drummond. Or we assess that it being from the same family, and we were hearing a lot of rumors that drugs were involved, and there was a lot of families saying, you guys are all saying this stuff, this is not true. So I threw that out there, that it could be potentially drugs. I was uncertain whether it had anything to do with drugs or substances or anything like that, but it could make sense of why four members of a family would be... you need to sort your volume, please. Yeah, we do know the last time. Well, there's nothing I can do about the volume. You probably have to adjust it on your end, because my volume is showing perfect on my end. I can't hear it, but it's showing good on my end. Betty... Getting my grandson ready for school, so sorry, can't chat right now, but listening, that's okay. Oh, hey, Sandwich. It's nice to see you. The volume is great. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So with Sebastian Rogers' case, but anyways, Drummond was, the substances. Now we're finding out it might be a combination of two. That he was known to the family. He dated Courtney, the grandmother of the abandoned baby's sister, got her pregnant. There seems to be some fallout between her sister and Austin Drummond. So it could be a combination of the substances as well as the domestic aspect of it. We don't know. But it did give me, I was watching something yesterday on Sebastian Rogers, and it was about the Texas Roadhouse content, and I can't remember what the person said that triggered the epiphany, so to speak, but then it dawned on me, what if it's a little bit of both? What if it's maybe the reason why we're so conflicted on whether something happened at the Texas Roadhouse and something happened at his house? What if it was both? What if, just hear me out, now this is kind of on the conspiracy theory side more so than just the theory side, because it takes a little more work to convince. But what if there was a team in place at the Texas Roadhouse? And what if the team was in place at the Texas Roadhouse to get their mark? And what if the engagement or interaction out by the car was truly to provide instruction and or whatever was needed for the team to execute removal of Sebastian from the home? And what if, maybe it was an email. Maybe it was an email now that I'm starting to play this through. It might have been an email somebody sent me. And what if, when the instructions were followed at the home to prepare him for removal from the house, something went terribly wrong and he lost his life, which triggered a 3-hour phone call, which then caused a plan B. Plan A didn't work. Now we have a deceased child or an injured child or whatever child, and now we need to figure out what to do. What if it's a little combination of both, and that's what's confusing everybody? What if there was some type of event going on at the Texas Roadhouse? What if those people were supposed to be following them and preparing, lying in wait, so to speak, for the execution date and time, or, the execution time? And what if a lot of people bring up pharmaceuticals, prescriptions, or something like that. What if she did give it to him, and what if she went in there to check on him to make sure that it went into effect and realized he succumbed to whatever she gave him, or it countered with some other medication and had a horrible effect on him, and now something else had to happen. I don't know if that's true or not, but because of the Austin Drummond, and it appearing that there may be some a combination of reasons for something to happen, maybe that's what the approach we might need to have until there are, some more guidance or more factual information that's provided. It would explain why Katie was looking so sus at the Texas Roadhouse. It would explain any type of interaction she had outside of that Texas Roadhouse, including passing of something. And it would also explain them being home and the reason for the 3 to 4 a.m., blob with blob. Maybe it's a combination of both. I found it very strange that Katie put on headphones when she got into the car, maybe to prevent Sebastian to hear the whole conversation. Possibly. I think it's quite interesting that she immediately calls somebody when she's in the car. I think this also, Betty, the marks on CP's arms, there was a fight, in my opinion. I thought about that too. If KK went into the garbage without letting Sebastian out of the car to go to the front door this one time, how sure are we he made it home? Yeah. But maybe the answer lies into, because you know how like when you're looking at a puzzle or a puzzle piece or trying to figure out what something looks like, or maybe a Salvador Dali painting where you got to take the painting and turn it several different ways to see, what the picture, if the picture starts developing, You know, because that's the one thing about Salvador Dali, is that he had a lot of paintings, a lot of images in one painting. You get the artistic ability of Salvador. It was that whenever you looked at his painting from different angles, a different painting revealed itself. That is the iconic, you know, artistic attribute that is with Dali, in my opinion. And just because Sebastian left with Katie from Texas don't mean he went home with her. And that's true. But what if he did? What if everything that we were seeing in the parking lot was true? What if our opinions of this being either instructions or maybe the substances that were needed to incapacitate him for the removal process? Yes, KP looked like she passed something to that lady, or vice versa. Something, you know, that was the first time, because it was Nick's team. It was at night that let us know that there was a conversation with a strange unknown person that lasted almost 2 minutes. Now, again, 2-minute conversation is long. Did you guys know I didn't know this. Most of our conversations are under a minute. Did you know that? When you call somebody and you say, hey, you know, what are you doing today? You got to remember, tick, 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 tick. You can have a lot of words in 60 seconds. When you leave a voicemail, your voicemail typically is only 12 seconds, 15 seconds or under. If that tells you anything. Even those long-winded ones they're 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Very rarely do we ever utilize the entire, unless we're angry about something, the entire 2-minute voicemail chat limit. I've done it a few times. Not in a really long time, but I've done it. Where I've had to call back because the darn thing cut me off. It didn't want to listen to my whole conversation. It's like, beep, you went too long. It's like, don't worry, I'm coming back. Right? So I don't know. It seems like that was a lot more than just a passerby, unknown passerby. The appearance of her looking around that Texas Roadhouse, when I went there, they brought you your drinks, they brought you your food, you know, you paid your bill right there at the table. I kept looking. She never asked a waitress for silverware. I could see the silverware on the table. I could see their drinks were full. They didn't need any additional drinks on the table. I could not figure out for the life of me anything that Katie was looking around for a waitress to ask for. And even when multiple waitresses had passed her table, she never stopped one of them for anything. So why was she really looking around that restaurant so obnoxiously? Reading a speech difficult to get 3-minute speech limit. Yeah. Agree, Betty. How often does that happen to any of us when we go out to eat? In my opinion, why would Sebastian wearing a sweatshirt to take the garbage out when he didn't wear one at the Texas Roadhouse? That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I believe that too. Oh, Ricky, it's nice to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. If you guys don't know who Ricky Beaver is, you guys need to go check out his music. He's great. He's great. One of these days I'm gonna see you in Kentucky. I'm getting some more Kentucky cases. I'm actually gonna be setting up some small groups there, Ricky. You might be able to help me. It's nice to see you. I love seeing your name here. I feel almost like starstruck. Ah, I love it. It's nice to see you. All right, guys, so let's just get finished with this and then we'll move on. We're getting closer to the end of the show.
But the most chilling piece of evidence in this case, authorities reportedly found a note on Aaron's phone, which was time-stamped the night before this crime, and it read, "Don't say anything. Be quiet. If she wakes up, just say that you're getting nasal spray. Get on side of bed, very close proximity to head. Put a hole in her head." Let that sink in. A warrant was issued just days later, but we're still waiting. In April 2025, America's Most Wanted did a full segment on this case, but still nothing. We are all still waiting for justice. Aaron Pennington is about 6 feet 2 inches tall, 175 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him. Call 911 or the Massachusetts State Police immediately. Brianne, or Breezy as she was known to her loved ones, deserves justice, and her children and family members deserve peace. I will keep posting about this case until Aaron Pennington's face is just as recognizable as Austin Drummond or Travis Decker. Please help me do the same.
I'm going to have a hard time with this whole muting of the freaking microphone. It's going to drive. Whenever I have it on, let me play this. Is it echoing? Because it looks like it's echoing on my end.
This case should be in the spotlight until Aaron is arrested and faces justice, or until he is found unable to face that justice, which is a possibility. Until that day comes.
Oh, no echo. Oh, I love that. So we have no echo when I do that? Oh, that's going to be lovely. It looked like on my end it was showing that it was echoing a little bit, so I've been muting my microphone just to keep the echo down. But if it's not echoing and I can play without disabling my microphone, that's awesome. Okay, then it sounds like I got the issues resolved with the audio. And I think it was eliminating that extra audio source that I put in. So now we have the mic and, of course, the sound from the Google. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, that's good to know. Well, then I won't do that anymore. So that might actually help. Good. So we're going to actually help because, again, Aaron Pennington, this happened in 2024. It's 2024 or 2023? No, 2024. No. When did this happen? I can't remember. I can't remember if it was this year or last year. Like when we were doing Sebastian. Maybe that's what it was. It was Sebastian's case that we were covering. But either way, Aaron Pennington, it's been a while since I covered him. And I don't think it might have been at the beginning of the year. But 2023. Thank you, Grave Crime with Grace. 2023. I remember, I'm like, wait a minute, it's been a while. And I don't remember. Oh, then I know exactly what I was covering. I was covering the Idaho 4. And this was probably one of those intro videos into a conversation about Brian Koberger when we covered this particular case. But again, I recognize this guy because I remember thinking, man, he's a good-looking guy. To get himself in this much trouble and not even to have a speeding ticket was insane to me. And that's the reason why I remember Aaron Pennington's case, is because this was one of those cases that I talked to you guys about where I say people this day and age, they go past, they don't even get traffic tickets. They go from being a good upstanding citizen straight to murder. And this is one of those cases that I was referring to when I made that statement, is Aaron Pennington. What else do we have here? This might be... Oh, yes. I wanted to bring comments on Jaden's case. I've been watching this in the news. And what a sad case this is. Even though I really haven't covered this case on on this show specifically, Jaden's case, I have been monitoring it because the Clutch Them Pearls has been covering it. Some of our other true crime family here on these platforms have been covering his case. And so naturally I've been keeping my eyes and ears open for it. I'm trying to limit, I mean, we talk about the kids' cases, but the kids' cases do bother me quite a bit. And this is another one of those cases where it bothers me quite a bit because I don't know who to believe, and I don't want to accuse an innocent mother of harming her child. if she didn't, because I know that there are some things going on in this young man's life. For example, he was living with his grandmother, and it sounds like his grandmother, which he was very close with, passed away. And when she passed away, it forced him to go live with his mother. Everybody from his grandmother's side says he was a handful. And that might be, he may be on the spectrum some, because when I hear that, it seems like he might be, but the mother has a history of child endangering. And I know that, Sandwich, and that's where I'm getting to this, is that this child was not in the custody of the mother. The mother didn't have the, not that she didn't have the wherewithal to raise her child. It just seems like if she really wanted to raise her child, she would have been raising her child instead of her mother raising her child. And shortly after this child gets into her custody, he disappears. Now, one of the arguments is that she's been in trouble in the past, 10 years ago, and has not been in trouble since, has gotten her life together since. And so that's where kind of my confliction comes in, because again, you guys know my story. It took a lot of work to change my life. I never want to knock anybody that is working to change their life for the better, but we do have to look at this situation for what it is. And his mother just got custody of him in the distant past, where she was not raising this child. And if she was not accustomed to raising a handful child, a child that was a lot, a little extra. Great kid. Not that I'm saying anything negative about Jaden. Jaden's a normal, good kid. He's just a handful. He's very energetic. And some people that aren't in May, I knew it was soon. I knew it was recent. I didn't know how recent, but I knew it was recent. Thank you, Pebbles. Pebbles says the grandmother passed away in May. And so this child hasn't even been with his mother for several months, and he's gone. And if he had walked out into the woods or tried to go back, because, young children, they don't understand death. So we have to look at this from a lot of different angles, because there are a lot of different factors here. Could he have just missed his grandmother and just wanted his grandmother? Yes, there is a good possibility that that's something, because kids don't understand death is final. They don't understand why they have to be here. They don't understand, the courts forcing. They let's be honest. Why all the kids, autistic kids, their connection? So tap dancer Lizzie, I know there's a few words missing here, but if I'm understanding you correctly, she's noticing that there's a lot of autistic children, and is asking, are there any connections, somehow? Because we have had quite a few missing autistic children here in the recent past. Does it mean something? It could, right? It could. In my opinion, the child is missing days before the parents called the police. And that's a possibility too. But it doesn't look good when a parent gets a child and a child goes missing shortly after going into the custody of that parent. And especially when the family of the grandmother is saying, the grandmother loved, he's a great, bright, happy boy, fun, and full of energy, and can be a handful at times, is basically what I was reading in the article. And I'm thinking, this mother, she's, has a past substance abuse history, which tells me that maybe there might be some triggers that, and I don't mean triggers that are going to cause her to relapse. It could, but triggers that cause somebody to go from 0 to 60. It is very common in people that have had past alcohol or substance abuse to have that mean streak in them. It's something I don't ever think goes away. I have it in me. That's my coping. I tell you guys all the time, I have no problem telling somebody to go F themselves, kick rocks, whatever the case may be. That I think is the piece of me that has that piece that came from my own personal struggles. So I know that it exists and resides within somebody, and it makes me wonder, is this a situation where she just lost her crap? You know, she has a child unexpectedly, you know, a few months ago, getting overwhelmed because she just wasn't fully prepared and engaged to handle Jaden and his high energy. Could it be something like that? Yeah, I do. I do believe it could be something like that, but I have to be fair here. I don't know these people. Hearing this woman's history doesn't automatically make me feel that she could harm her child. The details that make me feel that she could harm her child is, it has a lot to do with her past history. But we have to work through that. Because is it possible something else happened? It is. Could he have left to go to his grandmother's? We've seen it before. We did cover Quentin Simon's case. Did we not cover Quentin Simon's case? The Real Me Too's in here. Where was Quentin going? Where did Quentin go when he ran away from home? 2-year-old baby that ran away from home. He went over to his babysitters. He ran away to go over to his babysitters. Is this a situation too? And maybe he got injured on those trails trying to get to his grandma's house. Yep, the babysitter. So that, you know, we do have an experience where young children don't feel safe with their parent and leaves the home. So we have to take that into consideration. We just can't automatically say, hey, you know, mom has a sus background, it has to be mom. That's not the approach we should be taking. We should be trying to understand this entire history behind this to make sure that we're not missing anything. Because you guys got to remember, I screwed up Giovanni's case. My initial assessments on Giovanni's case was wrong. Mom has custody of other kids, and those other kids seem to be fine. So we have to look at that. But are they as high energy as Jaden? She didn't have the same parental or maternal connection with Jaden as she had with her other children. We have to take that into consideration as well. Yep, and I read that too, Lisa. Jaden's afraid of dark and spiders. To the possibility of him sneaking out in the middle of the night, probably. And I have to agree with that. If he was going to go look for his grandmother or run away from home, I think he would do that during the day. Sandwich, because I misanalyzed the case, and by the time the information came available, it was too late to assist. So when I first got the case of Giovanni Pelletier, my first initial assessments reading the facts was that he most likely, first of all, I didn't realize it was 1 o'clock in the morning that they came and picked him up. I thought it was much earlier, like a normal time, because his parents were there. And so I figured they would have had plenty of time by 1:30 in the morning to make it back to MIMS, and thought that if they were, because of behaviors, I believe that the assailants were the cousins, and that they would most likely dump a body in an area that they are more comfortable in. That's my kind of MO. Statistics say that. And so I thought he was in MIMS. Well, it wasn't until 2 days later, so I put that aside. I was waiting for some more information to develop before I ran the story, but I wasn't concerned because I knew that I had reports that they were doing some searches here in Manatee County. I chose not to go out there because I was for certain he wasn't here. And he was here. So if you want to talk about getting something completely 100% wrong, it's the Giovanni Pelletier case. And so when I get cases wrong, I'm honest with myself. I'm honest with my audience. You guys didn't know what was going on in my brain. I wasn't running the case or anything like that. We weren't talking about it, so you guys don't know. It's just that I'm telling you this because I want you to know that there were mistakes that I made early on in this case that prevented me from believing that he was in Sarasota or even Manatee County, and he's found in a retention pond 20 minutes away from my home. So I got that whole entire case wrong, and I have to be honest with myself about it because we want to make sure we don't make those type of mistakes again. And where did I go wrong? Was it arrogance? Was it, did I misread something? Was it a bias that I had? You know, you got to look at all those things to make sure that you have, and it was just lack of information. I'm sure that's what it was, but I knew that the search peeked over into Manatee County, and I could have strapped up and went out, and I chose not to. Would that have helped the family? I don't know. Could we have found them without them having to spend money for private investigators? I don't know. One thing I do know is I didn't believe the cousins. I still don't believe the cousins. Now that we have some information, but I think my point is, Sam, which is my initial assessment removed Manatee County, and Manatee County was a player in the case. I didn't provide myself enough theories initially for that case, and I need to figure out why would I not do that. It's not about assuming what the problem is. It's about trying to find out for sure what it is and making sure I don't make that mistake again. So that's what it comes down to. But it did upset me that I was so wrong with my initial assessment in that case that it's made me want to review the case more thoroughly and keep my eyes on it. So again, so we don't make those mistakes again. That's all. But Jaden's case, again, is one of those, is one of those cases where I truly believe we have several theories here that could be plausible. We know statistics with young children this age. And, you know, the Adam Montgomery factor, where a child's being forced down a parent's throat without doing the proper, you know, necessary stuff. I don't know what the case is, okay? I don't want to assume anything, but we are putting everything out there. So do your own research, make your own, assessment for yourself. But we know how these cases typically turn out, and it typically turns out that it's a caregiver. I don't want to automatically assume that it's this lady, and we know that she has other kids. Why haven't we heard of a male? A woman with multiple kids with the lifestyle that she has lived, the idea of not having some type of male influence inside that home seems illogical. It seems to me that the mom would have a boyfriend or a husband. Where is he? Is Turkey Man up in the house? Hey, Turkey Man, it's nice to see you. Well, good day. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. I hope life is going well. It's always nice to see Turkey Man. I gotta turn the phones back on. That's all we need. We need to get back to our normal stuff, you know, bring people up on chat, turn the phones back on. We just need to get this stuff rolling out again. She lives with Joshua Gross. Well, let's hope his last name doesn't really have relevance on who he is as a person. But we're seeing even worse examples of our justice system going on. We do. We see a lot. What did they do to Bullhorn Betty was false. Yeah. And that's one area of Tennessee. But we don't want to paint the whole entire state with the actions of one county, one horrible county in the state. But we do know we have a lot of problems in the state of Tennessee, and it's, you know, we're bringing them to the forefront. It's time to get people in Tennessee on the right, you know, avocation. And right now, we need to make sure that when people are arrested for violent crimes, your judges have the ability to keep them in jail. Right now, it sounds like, according to your statutes and constitution, it's out of the judge's hands. Did you guys know that? That the reason why Austin Drummond is out is because he is required to have bail even for attempted murder? That is insane to me. Again, I come from Florida. We like safety. We throw people in jail until we know that they're safe for us. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It is what it is. Good day, Miss Betty. Hope you and yours are doing well. I've been struggling, you know, just like everybody else. I've been struggling a lot. But I guess every single day is a step in the right direction, or it's not. That's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at in my life. But we just keep getting up, putting one foot in front of the other, and fake it until we make it. I guess that's how we roll. But I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing better than a lot of people. If you look at his arms, you see bruises, in my opinion. We have absolutely no direction where Sebastian could be anywhere. We've had zero credible sighting of Sebastian since the Texas Roadhouse. Zero. And I keep thinking, I'm sorry, but I just keep thinking, if they are using an organization that does this, then it would be a legitimate organization. And a legitimate organization would not hide from the police department. They would, if they had a child in their care or custody or control, and they knew that law enforcement has a missing person for that child, they would stand up and say, hey, the child's in my facility. The mother gave us permission. All the paperwork is in order. Here you go. And that's not what we're dealing with here. And it's not sitting right with me. All what everybody's trying to say that Chris and Katie couldn't, I just don't, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Let's listen to this. We might have a commercial. We do have a commercial.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for WKYT News at 6. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Amber Philpott. The search continues for a missing boy in eastern Kentucky tonight. 10-year-old Jaden Spicer was last seen earlier this week at his home on Panball Branch Road near Jackson. It's in Breathitt County.
WKYT's Phil Pendleton talked to some relatives who are questioning why he suddenly disappeared. It's our top story at 6.
There are many questions along Panball Branch Road in Breathitt County.
There's some stuff that just doesn't add up in this case.
Police say they were told that Jaden went to bed Tuesday night but was missing on Wednesday morning.
And as two aunts and mothers, we've questioned a lot of the information ourselves.
State police say numerous search crews have combed the woods and hilly areas, even using sonar.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't see why those parents have, those aunts have any reason to lie. Okay? They're saying things aren't adding up. They've got no reason to lie. Their only concern is Jaden. And I'm looking at they seem so sweet. They just want answers. Let's keep going.
Are underwater. There's been no solid leads, but they say they are leaving no stone unturned and looking into every possibility.
He's a good boy. He's very sweet and loving. He is very hyperactive.
Right there.
He likes to be on the go.
On the go 24/7.
That's somebody that has children that aren't, go. They can handle, they I feel like that's the aspect. Just follow me here. A mother's living her life. She has another child. She should be taking care of that child. If she has children she's taking care of and not one of the children, one of the children's been taken care of, why? That's all kinds of wrong. I'm sorry, just all is. But apparently Jaden was put in the grandmother's care because of the mother's behavior and lack thereof for the child's care prior. And since then, she's had other children that the states have allowed her to keep. So if she's on substances, even if she has been sober for a while and has kept herself out of trouble in a while, could the loss of her mother, we know that there are things that trigger, especially people that are overcoming substance and alcohol abuse. And one of those triggers is the loss of a parent. So could this loss of a parent and now having to take care of another mouth that she wasn't prepared that she had to take care of, all of a sudden, boom, like that, could that have pushed her over the edge? Could that have her relapse? Could that have her boyfriend, maybe her boyfriend's on substances, alcohol, or drugs? and Jaden just got into his personal business, much like Sebastian got into Chris's personal space, and we know how that ended for Sebastian. I wonder if her boyfriend or husband or significant other hurt Jaden. Because I just don't know what's wrong with parents.
They say that he would never venture out in the dark and try to climb the rugged terrain that surrounds his home.
He does not like insects at all, so...
Or the dark.
Them looking up in the hills, I mean, any child can go anywhere, but it just seems so unreal that he would...
I'm sorry. I believe them. I believe the ants. These were the same statements we learned about Sebastian Rogers. Are they not? Doesn't like the dark, doesn't like bugs. If she was unable to provide for him, why didn't CPS see that? People hide. They don't ever want to be failures. Let's be honest. You know, maybe it's just something... I don't know. Good question. I really don't know the answer to that. Why? I don't know. You would think that any parent that can't handle their child and is feeling or fearing that they're going to do something horrible would call for help before that step. You would think anybody, but we see so many times than not the result of overwhelmed parents that just don't ask for help. I want to see the mom's face. Why isn't the mom out here? Why do we have any interviews with the mom at all? Begging for her child to be returned? Do we have any posts from the mom? Is the mom doing anything actively to look for her son? Has she been searching? The letter she wrote. That's it? She wrote a letter? Can somebody send me that letter? What did the letter say? Can somebody... Let me just see if I can find it. Hold on. Let me take this off so we can find it. Hold on here. Hyperactive could be ADHD as well. Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. And you know, some parents that aren't trained to deal with spectrum kids, things happen. She wrote a letter, reminds me of the Proudfoot Hands video. Damn. She wants to remain anonymous? The mother of a missing child wants to remain anonymous? Oh, she's got something to do with it. No, there ain't no way in hell. Nope. 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 There are no way in hell. Nope. You have to see the letter. Let me find the letter. Let me take this off. Let me find the letter. Let's see what I can gauge from the letter. Is this from the sister? Let's see. We love Jaden and we want him safe at home. Please, if anybody sees my son, Jaden Spicer, please report it to the Jackson Police Department. Thank you. We love him very much. Please do the right thing. Call police. Please pray for us and my son, Jaden. Thank you. Okay, so a few things I get from this letter is she's not highly educated, and it's just it doesn't even matter. You can just, she's not a very highly educated girl. Did she graduate high school? These are very important questions I ask. I understand that you don't realize that, but I need to find an educational level on her. Does anybody know? Betty, who mom says we love you, not I love you. She is distancing herself. Yeah. She's not really addressing Jordan either. She's making a statement. We love Jaden. And we want him home. She's not speaking to him. Has Mike Demand or the deception detective, has there been any assessment from either of them? Yes, Sandwich. No parent, when you're missing a child, cares about anonymity. They care about getting their child back. That's the biggest red flag. Mike did her video. Okay, thank you. I'll go over to Mike's channel and see what I can. Did he do a video based on this letter? I'd like to see the Okay. Hey, Nicey Marie. It's nice to see you, Lady Lexi. It's nice to see you as well. Gotcha. Okay, well, yeah, definitely interesting. The education level is she's got a low education level. It's no other the way it's written plus the words. The Jackson Police Department's not capitalized. Anybody with an education would have known that those letters, you do that naturally, instinctually. So we've got a person that has a low education level, you know, so we have to look at that. That has to be a factor in their mental processing. So I don't know. I think that there is stuff here that that isn't right. I agree with that. That isn't right at all.
Go up there.
They say Jaden can be hyperactive and that can be difficult to deal with. But they say this has been almost too much for them to handle.
Tore up, shocked, confused. Don't know if we're coming and going. Don't know where to start.
Numerous Breathitt County agencies were looking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Some help coming from out of county expected Friday afternoon. Breathitt County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And there is a prayer vigil scheduled for tonight at 7:30 at the Panbo Full Gospel Church.
So, when was the last, does anybody know this? When was the last time any third party saw Jaden? Do we know if the family has indicated the last time that they spoke with the boy? You know, did they call and check on him, you know, when he had, you know, school vacation, or did they have like a family reunion, a get-together? So Indiana says July 3rd. Is this another July 4th week? That implies a lot right there. Well, a family they don't get privacy when they have a missing child. Sorry, you don't get privacy. Let me tell you, if there's any family member of Jaden Spicer's that comes to the Bullhorn Betty channel, I'm sorry, but not sorry. Until this child's found, nobody gets privacy. It's going to be one of the most awful things that you go through. And unfortunately, I'm going to be part of the problem until this child gets found. So, yeah, privacy. The best thing I can tell this family is be transparent. You know, that's just the best advice I can be. I mean, within reason. Don't screw with the integrity of the investigation because it's a child. But, you know, sugarcoating something and having the lynch of the true crime community up your crawl, because it's probably, I don't know. This is horrible. My best thing for the advice of the family is keep pumping out photos of him. Keep him front and center. You know, this is going to be the worst thing you'll ever go through. I promise you that. The absolute worst. And it doesn't get easy. Just doesn't. Aunt Samantha spoke to Jaden on July 3rd last. That's a big problem for me, because we all know what do people do July 4th weekend. They party. They party. When was he reported missing? Hold on. It's not in this article. What was the specific day he was, what day was he reported missing? And he went and saw him after July 3rd. So we have July 4th. 2 days. No, August 5th. So he was just, that's right. Okay. Guys, it most likely has been a month since he's been missing. What would trigger the August 4th disappearance? They would have had to call it in. If it did happen, let's say something did happen. Just a theory. It doesn't mean that something happened on the July 4th weekend. How often? Well, it might be a good indicator. It depends on how often the family spoke to Jaden. Did they speak to him regularly? And was there pressure from the family that they hadn't spoken to Jaden in a while before the mom reported him missing? Those are questions I have. Those are important questions. That doesn't make sense, Lady Lexi. It says, hey, they love him so much, but only have one photo. It does sound like the Proudfoots. They didn't have very many photos of Sebastian. And I know that I've seen parents, they love their children. They're constantly taking photos of them day and night. You know, they just want to remember every little thing. CPS didn't give Felicia the child, in my opinion. I think the family was already busy with their own family, and the family gave him back to the mom, not CPS. Now, I heard it was a court order. The judge court ordered him back. From my understanding, it was court ordered. But it might have been court ordered because there was nobody willing to step up and help. It is being said she freaked out and had to report it where the school was starting. So the school was starting to ask, how many days was the child? They were going back to school. They were going back to school. That's what triggered it. That's what triggered it. July 4th happened during summer break. He was going back to school. That's why they reported him. He's probably been gone for a month. And if that's the case, that mother and that man that's living in that house should both be in jail. Yeah, something's not right. Family didn't hear from him the day before July 4th. And he's being reported right before he has to return back to school. It's not looking good for the mom, y'all. Not at all. Not at all. Not looking good for the mom, y'all. You know, we hear these cases, not that I'm 100%, but I'm telling you, there's certain things that's why I constantly asking questions, because when you start hearing certain things, you start knowing where these things are going to start going. It's not looking good, and I find it awfully ironic. Before a major holiday, a major party holiday, was the last time this child was heard, and right before this child is required to be reporting back to school, the child is reported missing. That means that child would have only survived that home 60 days. It sounds a lot like Adam Montgomery. Yeah, but even if they did have cameras, by the time they reported them 30 days, there ain't crap on your cameras. There ain't crap on your cameras. Let's see. I mean, I've got let's see how far my camera goes back. Hold on. Where are my cameras? Now I don't use web services for my for mine. I use a memory box hooked into my my system, my internet system. I use a memory box, and it starts overwriting after it's full. It'll start deleting some stuff. So let me look at my clips. I'll tell you how long my storage goes back for. Let me just go. I'll keep going until I get to the very bottom, and we can deduct. So mine goes all the way back to, so it holds a month. It does hold a month. Mine goes all the way back to July 11th, and today's August 11th. So my box, and that's it may hold even more than a month, because the last event that I have in my clips is from July 11th. So I guess tomorrow will remind me to check again and let me see. But it looks like even mine, which is not using cloud service, it's using a memory box, a sync box. It holds up to a month of. I didn't know that. That's pretty good. I'm pleased with that, to have a month at a time stored, and I can download all these and store them and keep them. So I'll move those over from this local storage to my extended storage, and we'll keep, I could keep these even longer than 30 days, but just on my sync box, it at least logs 30 days worth of videos from around the house. So that's good to know. So it's possible. If it happened, but if it was my, wow, it could be up to a month before that child. But you know what? I know they live in a desolate area. Does anybody know? Has anybody heard from the neighbors when the last time the neighbors saw the entire family together with Jaden? Because we have to remember, the family may not be, we know that they talked to him right before the July 4th weekend, which is great. But if nobody saw him again after the July 4th weekend, it is probably a good chance that he disappeared on the July 4th weekend. Yeah. He was there for a month or two at the end of May. So he would have only been there 30. That would be, wow. Yeah, they live near the woods, of course. They live in a desolate area. What do you think she told the boys happened to them? I guess law enforcement's going to question them. Law enforcement will question them. But just, wow. That's not even, I don't know. I guess it's a theory. I mean, if he did leave at his grandma at the end of May when she passed away, court ordered the child back to the mother's house. And then July 4th weekend happened, which was like 30-something days later, 30 to 45 days later. And that's the last time that anybody in the family heard from the child. Now the child's reported missing right before school. Yeah. This ain't looking good. This ain't looking good at all, y'all. It's not looking good. Alright, well, prayers for Jaden. If you guys have any information that you would like to share with the Bullhorn Betty channel, you can always report that anonymously. Please let me know if you send me any type of email with your name attached to it. If you do not want your name, just tell me to keep you anonymous. I do not violate people's privacy when it comes to my channel. When you're giving information, you want to keep that information confidential. Now, what I'd like to know is several things. I need to gauge this very, very quickly on whether mom or her boyfriend is involved. And I need to know who's seen this child third party after the fact. You know, that's where I'm at. Again, no weapons yet. Oh wait, that's long to report. And well, we don't know if it's a month. I am stating that. So my question to the audience is, when was the last time any of the family members had heard from Jaden? And it was July 3rd. And I have a problem with that because the mother has a past history of substance abuse, most likely alcohol abuse as well, where she had Jaden taken from her because she could not care for her child. And her mother was the responsible party, the caretaker of Jaden. Her mother passed away. And Jaden was now, you know, where he was going to go is up in the air. The courts ordered Jaden to be placed at the mother's house. Now, I don't know if she was fighting for custody. She very well may have been fighting for the custody of her son, and the court decided to grant her the custody of her son. So I don't know what the details are, but I don't want to say that, you know, the courts forced her to take her son back. We don't know that, but it was by court order from my understanding, so I want to make sure that we're clear on that. But with family not speaking to him after July 3rd, it's a problem for me because of July 4th. And it's also further a problem because, like I said, what would trigger her to call this in if we believe that and I said that, if we believe that he may have disappeared prior to this, a month prior potentially, what would trigger her to now report him missing? There's always a trigger to report. What was it? And then while we were sitting here, we're realizing the time of year it is, and the trigger most likely is that he's 10 years old, he's enrolled in school, and it's time for him to start school, and they have no child. So now they are forced to call him in. So if my theory is accurate, and there's a probability or a possibility that he disappeared the July 4th weekend, well, there's no possibility that the mother could not be involved. If those are the details, the mother would absolutely 100% be involved in and I'd have to say the death of her son, because nobody hides a child's disappearance for a month unless they're deceased. Let's be honest. I don't care whether they have the evidence or not. Nobody hides. Nobody hides. Okay, let's move this out so I can get it downloaded. Oops. It's not filling in all the way here. I wanted to get this side of it. So, this is another one. This came from Melanie's sister. And they watched the show. Many of you guys know while I was in PA, I got an opportunity to meet Melanie. What a sweetheart. She's absolutely a part of the coffee club and family here. And so this was a case that I saw, and I couldn't figure out because I kept looking through my emails trying to refine it. And apparently I must have, which everybody knows I don't hardly ever use Messenger, let alone read Messenger. Many of you guys have tried to send me stuff in Messengers that go unread for literally a year, because the best way to get a hold of me is bullhornbetty@gmail.com. But this must have been one where I think I saw the last name and thought, you know, this looks like Melanie, but it's a different name, so I must have thought it was a troll. I'm trying to process why I would go into Facebook, because this was sent to me from Facebook Messenger. And I kept looking for the email, and it wasn't until Melanie reached out to me and said, did you ever get my email from my sister, or get the message from my sister about this case? And I'm like, you know, I went back through my email and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, can you resend it to me? And so she did, and it was a messenger that that was sent to me, and I'm never in Messenger. So I remember reading the case, so it must have been the one time that I must have been in there and saw the last name and clicked on it, and I didn't even remember doing it. I just remember the story. So after Melanie reached out, I'm like, thank goodness, now I know this person's name again. This is an odd case. I remember when I read it the first time, I'm thinking, who in the world walks into the woods with golf clubs and disappears? I've heard a lot of things, people walking away from their homes in their life with, I've never heard somebody taking off in the woods and disappearing with a bag of golf clubs. Okay? If all else, she's armed, right? She is armed. She's armed with golf clubs. Nobody's going to mess with this lady. If they see her walking, they're not going to try to jump her. Why? Because she has weapons on her. She's got golf clubs, and those things hurt when you're whacked upside your head. So that is like, this is a strange story. There's no other words for this story other than strange. Unbelievable. Unbelievable is the word. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Unbelievable. Let's read. So Lindsay Door, a Garrett County woman, walked into the woods on her family's property. We usually know people that hurt are very close to people. It just seems like the most insane and deranged we can be is to people we care and love about. I don't get that mentality, but I think it has a lot to do with the passion, about emotion. Emotion has people do a lot of different things. So she's already on her family property, so family is there. Family is going to be suspicious to me just out the gate in the first sentence, because that's who she was in and around when she disappeared. So she's on her family's property carrying a set of golf clubs and vanishes over a year and a half ago. Despite a massive search and a family's desperate plea, the central question remains, what happened to Lindsay Door? And I have to be honest with you, maybe she did run away. Maybe those were her prized golf clubs, and she was walking away from her life, but she's not leaving without her clubs. It's possible. It would suit. It would fit. It would fit. So I don't know if that's the case. Sorry, guys. I probably should close these out. I've got a lot of stuff running behind the scenes here. Like a lot of stuff running behind the scenes. It's starting to slow some stuff down. So let me clear some of these tabs out. Actually, let me go ahead and just take this off until I clear those tabs out. Okay, they're starting to clear out a little bit easier now. Now that I got it off the screen. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, before I get too far away from it. Oh, okay, these out of here. Before I get too far away from it, do you guys remember hearing about I think it was the Delta airline pilot? Let me get my bearings together. I wish this would work a little faster, but it's not. Okay, we'll get back to number one. Where's the door at? Must be this one here. There we go. I'll put you guys back up. Remember the Delta pilot we were watching, or talked about it, where federal agents aborted, like this plane had just landed, I believe it was in San Diego or something, and law enforcement boarded and immediately arrested the pilot. Nobody really knew what was going on with the pilot, and come to find out it was a child CSAM type of situation, and they arrested him. Well, apparently his significant other, the female, was also arrested. LA, I believe. Okay, thank you, Chaos. Well, his girlfriend was also arrested. So this, I don't understand this level of grotesque appetite from people, but I hope they keep throwing them in jail. What they're doing is destroying young children's lives. They're destroying them. They're taking a match to an innocent person that has a bright future and making it a very dark world for them for the rest of their life. It's sick. And maybe people don't realize the damage they're truly doing, and I feel like if they knew the damage they are truly doing, they wouldn't do it. They destroy these children. For what? It's not, I don't even know how you can call that a good time. It's sick. And women are involved. I'm telling you, I'm not a violent person, but I hope to God I never am in the presence of a female that does this to a child, because I'm telling you, I will probably be in the holding cell right next to them. I don't know if I can contain myself. I'm sure I will, but it'll be very, very hard. Mally Cat gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Mally Cat thank you and welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room. You are going to need it. And Lady Lexi, receive that. No one ever gets deep into the darkish without enabling. Yeah. Jen Soto, man. You know, I was wrong. I shouldn't say I was wrong about her. I took my time with her. I just refused to go there until I had good supporting evidence to support that Jen Soto truly is a monster. And I believe Jen Soto is a disgusting monster. And she's in my state. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jen, if I see you anywhere, I'm going to scream you out. Wherever you are. Wherever you are. I keep signs in the back of my vehicle that says no justice, no peace. In the back of my vehicle, if I ever see Jennifer Soto anywhere in the state of Florida, I'm literally pulling over and going to grab a sign and start screaming at the woman. If I ever see her out in the public, I sure the hell will. I sure the hell will. YouTuber gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell YouTuber thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh, and Lisa B. Always. Oh, thank you. Gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If y'all received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell your gifter thank you. And to the family that has just become the family, we have adopted you now. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. I agree. That lady gives me bad vibes. She doesn't just give me bad vibes. She was complicit. She knew what was going on. I refused to say anything until I was 100% sure, but I am absolutely 100% sure. She was complicit, and again, comes back to Orange and Osceola County. Remember at the beginning of this, I said we have stains in our area too, and it's Orange and Osceola County. Well, they were the ones doing the investigation. Yeah, they did get Stephen Stearns in prison, and kudos to them. But they also, now mind you, Jen Soto had no attorney. And for them to give her complete and utter immunity without even negotiating with an attorney, screw them. That was horrible. She should have been charged right next to Stephen Stearns. She gave her daughter away, okay, to a grown-ass man. And then when that grown-ass man killed her, she throws her ashes basically down the drain, right? She says, I don't want her. Here, let me send her over to her father's. Why didn't you do that years ago? Why didn't you do that years ago, babe? People like me don't like people like you, Jen Soto. I'm not going to go out of my way to make your life miserable, but I pity you ever run into me. Just saying. Just saying. So now we're here with this Lindsay Door, and she has this weird situation where she grabs a set of golf clubs and takes off into the woods. On November 4th, 2023, Lindsay Door was captured on trail cameras on her mother's sprawling property in Accident, which is another weird name, Maryland. The details of the first sighting have baffled investigators and the public ever since. Lindsay is a diabetic who requires medication she did not have with her. Insulin, yeah, and was seen in a balloon tank top with her hands carrying golf clubs. So, was she having a mental break? I don't know. A combination of unseasonably light clothing on a chilly November day. We have the Jason from Virginia. He had a similar situation and ended up freezing in a tree. He lost his life. The investigation into Lindsay's disappearance was hampered from the very beginning. She was last seen on November 4th, but she was not officially reported missing to the Maryland police until November 11th, a full week later. Why would the family take a full week to report her missing? Maybe they thought she was going to come back? Possibly. I mean, yeah, maybe that's it. But this is all kinds of sus, but one thing we do have is that she was seen on a trail camera in the woods with the golf clubs. So, if all else fails, it sounds like at least we know she truly was in the woods with golf clubs on her family's property. I don't know. She may have ran away. I mean, it would be the society of an adult, 39-year-old. Her parents are mega wealthy. Maybe she hates the wealth. Maybe she had some mental illness. Maybe she was running away from her husband. Maybe she was running away from her mommy and daddy. I don't know. But it does sound like she was in the woods on November 4th with the golf clubs. But what if she came back? Because she wasn't reported missing for an entire week later. Are we sure she never came back? Because what if she did come back, something happened when she came back, and then they blamed it on when she was out in the woods, with the golf clubs. I don't know. Very weird. Very weird. Weird indeed. Weird indeed. So I don't know what's going on with Lindsay Door, but, again, it was a case that one of our audience members here was, I guess concerned about. I guess would be she hasn't been seen in over a year and a half, and I'm still not okay with, I don't know how to express what I'm trying to say here. This just seems a little odd, because it's a case that we rarely see. This is an adult lady, in their 30s, not somebody that's just, fallen up. Do we know any of her mental health history? Does she have mental health problems? We know that there's wealth, so inheritance, disagreement over inheritance, and hey, guys, it's not the first time we've heard of somebody being murdered over inheritance either. Does she have other siblings, cousins, family members, business partners of the family? Something. People don't just disappear, but it might be where she had a huge argument with her family and said, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to ever see them again. Some of us go through that, right? Some of us go through it. It's not that I'm saying it's right or wrong or in between, but we've all had family problems. I'm sure there's been somebody, at least for a time in your history, that you stopped talking to a family member or wanted nothing to do with a family member because of a disagreement. Is that what we're looking at here? It's possible. Now, again, she was actually in the woods on November 4th with golf clubs. What does that mean? Well, it could mean multiple things. Again, was she mentally well or not mentally well? If she was not mentally well, I'm not sure I can figure out why she's going into the woods with golf clubs. If she's mentally well and doesn't have a mental illness or major issues, then we have to think that there's a reason why she's going into the woods with golf clubs. I mean, if she really wanted to go and self-harm, it seems to me she'd be going into the woods with a firearm, not golf clubs. I'm sorry, I don't think she's going to whack herself enough times with a golf club to actually be effective if she's trying to self-harm. I know, system overload, exactly. And any one of the family is devastated, or did one carry on? Did everyone carry on? I don't know. It's definitely an interesting story. Maybe there's questions. If you guys live in this area, accident, Maryland, this is definitely like a. I think we need to call a book author. I really do. James Patterson. James Patterson needs to write this book, because I'm telling you, this seems like something really weird. Accident, Maryland. In Accident, Maryland, a 39-year-old lady runs away from her sprawling estate, her parents' sprawling estate, with only golf clubs? Like I said, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. The truth, accident. Is it Accident Road? I don't know. Let's pull this back up here real quick. Hold on a second. Let's read it again. No, it says Accident, 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 Maryland. And down here it says it's communities of Western Maryland and Allegheny County. I don't know. And then also, had she witnessed a crime? Is she going through a divorce? Could her husband or significant other been stalking her? Could she have seen him and realized he was following her and took off, in the opposite direction from him? And maybe he just wasn't picked up on the trail camera. Did they hear anything else in the background of the trail camera? Was there any noises? Was there anybody speaking? Was there any shuffling or rattling that trail camera may have heard? But she was absolutely armed with weapons. So I would think if somebody jumped out at her, she would have a 6-iron to whack them with. I mean, I could be wrong, but is there a 6-iron? I'm thinking I heard that on a movie somewhere. I'm not a golfer at all. As a matter of fact, my friend that is a golfer, when I went out to the driving range, said I probably should never, ever, ever hold a golf club ever again. Just saying. Perfectly planned. Yeah, and she could have just, again, those could have been her favorite golf clubs in the whole entire world, and she was done with her family and just wanted to break free from them and took her prized possession, golf clubs, and had somebody meet her. Maybe met somebody online, maybe planned it with her best friend from high school to leave. We don't know what the situation is. Has she been met with foul play? Or, did she just want to leave her life? This is going to be ones that are kind of, I don't know. This is one where I feel that there might not be, just initially, one of my theories, where this might not be any foul play at all. This might be an adult running away from home. A true runaway adult. It's possible. It's the golf clubs. Okay, I'll be honest with you. It's the golf clubs. That's what's got me flipping around on this, is the golf clubs. Like, who runs into the woods with golf clubs? Clearly, I thought it was a hocus pocus story that she ran into the woods, but they say that she's on a freaking trail camera in the woods with golf clubs. Okay, well, I gotta take that as factual information. that she's in the woods with golf clubs. What does that mean? Well, that's why I asked if she had any mental illness. Did she think there was like a golf thingy back there? Accident. Yeah, it's a little, the name, it feels like we got a James Patterson book. In the dark woods, back in Accident, Maryland, where the accident happened. You know, it just feels like a James Patterson. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. I need to know about her, me and her mom or dad. Yeah, she have kids. Yeah, exactly. It's starting to make you kind of perk your curiosity. Like, who is this woman? And, what is her history? Does she have a husband? Does she have children? Was she living at home with mommy and daddy? That says a lot about her, too. Did she have mental illness? Was she an abused woman? Did the family and her have any type of disagreements? Was she acting erratic? Diabetes does a lot of stuff to you. I didn't realize this, and it is true. Whenever you're diabetic or you have too high or too low a blood sugar, it affects you significantly. You can be a normal person and have an entire a high blood sugar and turn into a violent person and not even realize you're doing it, because the sugar has triggered something in your brain, and it's like you almost black out, but you're still there and you don't know what's going on. So I've seen it before, and she's diabetic and doesn't have her medications, and we all know that you can lapse into a coma very quickly over diabetic issues. So there is some level of grave concern here. But again, they had a huge search party and they didn't find her. I would think that they would find the big old bag of golf clubs before they found her, and they found nothing. I don't know. I feel like she ran away. She went off the grid. And I'd like to know about those golf clubs, because they seem like they would be awfully special to her. And if that's the case, I believe she ran away. So we've got a lot more information. It's been a year and a half. Could she have met with foul play running away? I guess that's a great possibility. She's a beautiful woman. Blonde hair. She's a beautiful woman. So, we have to take that into consideration. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me see if I got anything else. I feel like I got some more stuff here, but not for today's show. Oh, the fraternity girl. Logan. Yeah, we need to dive into Logan's case, too. Logan is the university student, and somebody burglarized her home and put her on her knees and executed her. And the person should have never been out of jail. He had something like 45 or 30, 20 or 30 felonies. I don't know what's going on with our judges or our prosecutors, but I'm going to tell you, if my sheriff or prosecutor puts my life in jeopardy, I'm going to be at their front door. I'm going to be at their front door. Picket signs, the whole gamut. That's what it's going to take in this country for these judges to hear. I don't care what your politics are, what your policies are. At this point, I don't care. I want safety, right? I want safety. I want safety for your community. I want safety for my community. And when we have violent offenders being released out into our public because of idiot judges and idiot prosecutors wanting to pander to the criminal and not the victims or future victims, I've got a problem with that. I will stand against that at every ounce of my being, We travel all over this country. I'm an advocate for true crime. I do not want to be an advocate for political causes unless absolutely necessary. But if you don't think I'm going to activate when it comes to crap like this, you've got you better come to Jesus, because I will. It's go big or go home when it comes to stuff like this. For me. Because now you're messing with my life. You're messing with my family's life. You're messing with my future family's life. And I say hell to the nah, nah, nah. When you got violent offenders, you keep them locked up as long as you humanly can. Because there is no rehabilitation for these animals. We've been doing this a long time. Very little are rehabilitated. There are some. And we need to give those people that are rehabilitated a path forward. But we have to remember it's few and far between. We give the ones that want help a path forward, and we keep the other animals locked the hell up. This is a situation where this beautiful girl, doing great things in school, wanting a better life for herself, and some stranger comes into her home and executes her. And this stranger should never even have been walking the streets, much like Austin Drummond. Much like Austin Drummond. Our criminals have exploited our justice system. That's why we have to get tougher on crime. Do we want to be tougher on crime? Do we want to make it harder and harder for people that want to, change their life and go straight? Do you think we want to make it harder for them to do that? No. But it's because of all these people exploiting the system and harming people that we have to give those people that want to change a hard time to make sure they're really wanting to change. And that sucks. So, anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for all being here. We went over quite a lot of topics, had quite the insightful conversations about multiple cases. I hope you guys have an amazing Manic Monday. We're just kicking off. It is now 9 o'clock. I know a lot of people are used to this show kicking off at 10 a.m. And typically we do kick off at 10 a.m. But when I'm up early, I'm going to start early. If I had these things planned if you guys already seen the 10 o'clock there every single day, then we would roll at 10 o'clock as well. And maybe I might start doing that, just holding the position of 9 o'clock every single day, just having it placed. And then we use that to talk after this show. But if I'm up and we got a lot to talk about, we're going to talk about this. And this was a very good, I like the conversation, and I like the cases that we covered. But I think the shocking ones today for me were Sudiksha Kunaki and Aaron Pennington. Both of those cases unresolved, and I am absolutely shocked that they are still yet unresolved. And then, of course, Jaden, I am not believing anything. I'm much like a lot of you. Yes, I believe the mom had problems, and she's gotten the child. I don't know whether she injured that child or somebody she knew injured that child. But I do believe that child disappeared. We don't know for a fact, just a theory. Disappeared long before they reported him. The trigger to me, after processing some of the stuff, is him having to go back to school is what prompted the missing person. So that tells me a little bit about mom. And it's time to start. If you guys know the mother, if you guys heard stories about the mother, please reach out to me. Send me that stuff. From Jaden Spicer's case, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I would like to see what I can. If you guys have any insight from the parents, the grandparents, I'm looking for very specific information. I'm trying to locate specifically when the last third party last saw Jaden. If it was the family talking to him on the phone, then that's fine. But if it was a neighbor, were they in a store? We just checked our cameras. It looks like people can go back a month. Hopefully August 5th, law enforcement went out and captured as many camera footage, CCTV footage that they could possibly carry. So if my system can hold a month, things like Walmart and other places, like corporate places, should be able to hold their content much longer than me. So I think we do have some paths forward to find out what happened to Jaden. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if we find out that Jaden, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Jaden found out, or we found out Jaden disappeared a lot sooner, a lot earlier than August 5th, because the way I'm looking at it, it's potential he could have disappeared over the July 4th weekend. And that hits home for me because we were just getting off of the case of Crystal Rogers. Crystal Rogers, 3 people were finally all convicted of her homicide that happened over the July 4th weekend in 2015. So I don't want it to be another case like Crystal Rogers' case was. But I'm really kind of doubting the mom. The mom's going to have to start talking, or people are going to they're going to come down on her head. It's only going to be a matter of time. They're giving her some leeway. Maybe it's because it's Kentucky. I don't know. But if the mom doesn't start talking soon to the public about what happened inside that home, the activists might go there. I don't know what we don't have too many cases out of Kentucky. Crystal Rogers was one, Jason Ellis, but that's kind of all, in my opinion, all connected to one another potentially. But we just don't cover a lot of stuff out of Kentucky. We've been covering a few things out of Kentucky that solved fairly quickly. The only one that we've covered that hadn't been solved very quickly was the Crystal Rogers case, but I believe that there was money and corruption, political corruption associated with that as to why Brooks Houck was able to remain out of jail as long as he was able to remain out of jail. So those moms in Kentucky's, remember, they both pew-pewed. Send me that sandwich. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd like to read that. I don't remember. But I'm worried if the way I'm kind of looking at this, though, as another theory, is the mom, she's had her problems. She's obviously had children. She's raised her children, raising her children. It doesn't seem like she's really popped up on the radar too much. But it's the boyfriend. It's the significant other that I'm concerned about. I'd like to look at both of them. I'd like to see the history of the mom, what type of violence and actual history she has. We know it's not going to be good. We do expect that there's going to be some drugs and some type of history for the mom. But I'd like to have a good understanding of, what it was and when. So if anybody can pull a history on the mom, if anybody knows her name, send that to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I just want to do a history. So anything that you guys have that I wouldn't have, names, addresses, dates, who's who, what grandma's name was, deceased grandma. We got some of the aunts stepping up in place. I've got their information. If anybody from the family is watching this and would like to fill me in, you can reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I don't have any reason to, I'll keep the conversations private and only share what the family wishes for me to share from them. But always putting that out there. Hey, Christy, it's nice to see you. Sasha, nice to see you. I watched a video, or maybe I had a nightmare on blueberries. They said to soak them in salt water. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy blueberries until somebody from my audience soaks blueberries in salt waters and tells me that there's not worms coming out of it, because I think I might have dreamt that. But if I didn't, I don't want to eat blueberries anymore. I don't know. We're going to have to check it. I don't know. So, yes, I seen that video, Betty. Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like it's fake news. Or maybe they had just a really bad batch of blueberries. But I don't want it to... I want to make sure that that's not every batch of blueberries. So if you guys got fresh blueberries, soak them in salt water and tell me what happens. It's better you than me. I'm just saying. I still love you guys. I'm just saying. Let me know if I should buy blueberries this year or not. I'll let you soak in. I'm not soaking blueberries in vinegar. There's no way. No, salt water I'll do, but not vinegar. It works, Betty. I did it this morning. Lord of Bugs came out of them. No! I don't think I'm going to ever eat a blueberry again. Don't tell me that. They were my favorite. Guys, you might need to cook your... You guys might need to start cooking your, your blueberries. If you guys are buying fresh blueberries, apparently we need to start soaking them in salt water. Yeah, Sandwich says Google it, y'all. I have a funny feeling once everybody sees this video, I think blueberry sales are going to plummet. I'm sorry, blueberry farmers. You're going to have to do better. Maybe it's time for you to go start cleaning your own damn blueberries. I'm just saying, because I'm not paying, you know, $5.99 a pound for half bug. Just saying. I'm not opposed to eating crickets. Fried crickets, I hear, taste like chicken. I'm just joking. I'm not doing that. But, you know, I love blueberries. I'm a blueberry chick. Yes, guys. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to stay away from the blueberries until somebody can give me a blueberry that is not, doesn't have legs and growing. Literally. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back later today. I'm certain. I've got a lot of work. Tomorrow is going to be a little iffy because I've got court in the morning at 11 a.m. my time, so it might complicate our live, so we might have to do another early morning live tomorrow. And we'll start moving the process along. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys take care. We'll see you soon. And I think it's a wrap. I think. I'm kind of off. I can tell you that with this new system, I'm a little off. But I liked how it flowed today. It seemed like we didn't have a whole lot of technical or audio issues. I see that my green screen's starting to adjust. So I must be getting... The light must be changing outside because that's the only time the color changes, where it starts flickering. So I've got the sun starting to come up out there. So anyways, guys, you have a wonderful day. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you soon. I don't know if it'll be later this afternoon. I have been off TikTok for like the last week. Like I said, you know, some days are easier than others. I've been dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of back issues, and now I'm having wrist issues this morning. I don't know what's going on with me. But hopefully we'll be up and back at it really, really soon. But I'm getting old, folks, so it's time for me to get to the old folks' home. Actually, I'm moving up north. That's what the dream is. I'm moving up north. Right when I decided I'm ready to sell this old house, the freaking Florida market crashes, and I think I'm still going to sell. I think I'm just going to go ahead and just get what I can get out of it and just move on. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in Manatee County anymore. You know, I'm ready to move on. I've actually considered several spots that I would like to move, but if I have to move too far north, I'm going to be in Tallahassee, and I'm going to be the biggest boil on every single politician, including my governor's butt that you can imagine. So where is Betty moving? I don't know, and it might be 6 months to a year away, but I've already made the commitment to move. My house is too well known. I'm about to, you know, all of our court cases are going to be over. We get an opportunity to just have a fresh start, and we're going to take it. So that's the direction of me personally, and the direction of the show. We're not going to be in Manatee County hopefully in the next year. We'll be out of this county. We're not going to be out of the state, but we're going to be out of this county. So I'm going to miss this place. And I'm going to make sure that my county commission, everybody but 2 people on that board, maybe 3, are all fired. And they pissed me off. I work very, very hard. I work circles around them. And I do a lot of behind-the-scenes work to make sure that my county is effective. And my county is no longer effective. They have caused our prices to go through the roof here in Manatee County. When I tried to address it with the people that I helped put in office, they did not want to work with me. So, okay, I got your number. Your number is bye-bye. Your number is you're fired. We've got, I can tell you, I'm going to throw this out there because I know there's people from Manatee County that like to go and tell these politicians. I'm going after George and Amanda Ballard. Those are going to be the two people that I'm going to make sure is off that board at the next election. I don't think they're going to be here. I think one of them might have to be coming up in 2026, but I'm pretty sure George just is elected. He doesn't have to worry about his seat until 2028. But I think Amanda Ballard's ripe for picking and booting, and she is my county commissioner that I used to have a good working relationship that I absolutely despise and think she's absolutely horrible for this county. They've driven up our costs. If you guys are going to your county commissions and you hear a lot of HOAs coming through your approval process, you guys need to be questioning that, because that's how they're able to drive up our house prices in Manatee County and Florida, was through the HOA and the CDD manufacturing of houses. It was horrible policies for our county. It maintains to be the most horrible policies for our county, and these people are going to have horrible times trying to sell their properties, and now they're probably going to have to sell them at $100,000 less than they purchased them. So this is what your voting does. You can make yourself money, or you can lose a lot of money. And there's a lot of homeowners right now in Manatee County that are sitting underwater on their property because of the bullshit that my county commission put through. And now, because of the unaffordability of this county, even though I have a paid off home, I'm going to have to leave. And trust me, after being here, this being my home, my family built this place. Most of those commissioners haven't even been here like my family has, and they have completely turned my home into a country club. Trust me, they are as hell to pay for that. And every one of them is going to pay with their career in politics. Now, they're smart people. They'll get a job in financial institutions and other places and still be able to support their family, but their careers in Manatee counties as politicians are pretty much over. If they choose to be a politician, it'll be anywhere else, not here. And that's the way I work. So, I don't know. We've got an uphill battle, but by the time I make the changes here, I'm not even going to realize the changes I've made in my own county, because I'll be gone. Will I come back? I don't know. Who knows? I might like the place that I moved better. We'll see. Anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless, guys.
As you wake up in the morning,